Hey guys, this is GameGeek2, back playing EB, and this time I'm playing against a newer player named NacroxNicke, and he's from Chile, I think. I'm playing as the Sweboz, and he's playing as the Lusotannan. I don't play much as the Sweboz, but this time I decided to, just because I thought it'd be fun, test out new things. And I did have to do a bunch of artificial things, or some artificial things, to make the Sweboz powerful enough to be playable, but they are powerful enough to be playable. Unfortunately, they do rely very heavily on their light cavalry, but that's historical because the Germanic light cavalry historically was very good. Despite its meager equipment, it was able to very successfully fight off superior equipped and more numerous Gauls, for example. Although it is quite expensive. You have 2,700 for a unit of light cavalry. This is something in general I'm going to try to fix in EB and I will attempt to apply similar fixes to EB before we get to the summer battle series. Summer tournament series, I should say. Anyways, I've picked a relatively small infantry corps. At least I have, or at least it appears to be small because it's spread out. We got 3 heavy infantry units. 2 of them are units, which are excellent, which have the Eagle bonus, because they're the General's Bodyguard unit. I've got 4 of the Geistliche units, and 4 of the Slochones, who have a very high charge bonus, though I don't get to make the most of this in this battle. My guys get hit by some pretty bad javelin volleys early, or at least this unit gets badly damaged by these. And I spread my guys out into a longer line. And I figure it would be difficult taking on his infantry, so I wait to see what he does before I can open up a thing for attack, and I just probe for potential weaknesses with these archer units, these 2 Lonkinikos units. But these in the front line, these are all heavy armored Loricati. There's some elite shock troops, the Ambacaro in the back, the Kaitrati over here, 4 units of Kaitrati, and a few units of Legatians. He does seem to like a lot of the lower number units, but better armored units, more elite units. That's something I tend to not favor as much. I tend to prefer units with greater numbers, because those are better in javelin fights. But the Loricati Scutari are a very respectable unit. He's also got a lot of the Equites Kaitrati. Again, I prefer the Cantabrians just because they're better javelineers. Not as good in melee, but they're... See, I don't get in a proper charge with these Slochones, but I do, however, successfully engage these Scutari before anyone gets the javelins on these units, but I meant to get a charge in, which I didn't. And he gets a javelin in these troops, unfortunately. I move my spears over there. Unfortunately, I don't use them as well as I should, but they still use a dense formation and are able to hold off for a fairly long time. Now here we get to see the charge of the Slochones in its full glory. Though this has some... And you notice that within the first few seconds, these guys take a lot of casualties from these guys, so it's a very impressive charge, although that might have something to do with him throwing javelins on the side and hitting his own men. Not sure how exactly the mechanics of that worked out. But anyways, one thing I think I've done wrong in doing EB stats is I've inflated a lot of stats so much that battles don't take very long. But a lot of people seem to like this, I think. You see another, again, the excellent charge of the Slochones is able to do a number fairly quickly, or at least relatively good number. See, and here's another mistake, I think. He doesn't make use of his javelins here, and the Ambakar are excellent javelineers. So I think that's definitely a mistake. Here I start to move out my cavalry. And unfortunately, Raidones aren't that good at skirmishing against other cavalry. They're excellent at attacking against infantry, but against other cavalry, the other cavalry use wider spacing. They are, however, quite effective in melee against other horsemen. I do, however, have my archers to back them up with some missile fire. But yeah, my guys take a punishing from the javelins of the others, and they don't deal too much in return, especially because my guys wind up in a tight formation, just so I can mass them easily, which you need to do. If you want to do a lot of damage quickly with light cavalry, you really have to mass them if you want to charge effectively with them. Anyways, on this side I get outflanked, as you can see, but fortunately for me he's not outflanking very many important units, and I have more light cavalry able to harass him. And I follow up with the harassment with bringing in one of my general units. Now he brings in his Karizi, which are Lancer unit, but I don't think he uses them very well. He gets them kind of caught in the melee over here, which is respectable, because cavalry can actually do a decent job at meleeing from the back. But the thing is, he's going after Khazladoi, which are not going to rout very easily that way. He has, however, killed off a good number of my cav, and he's got my spearmen in a compromising position. So, it's not necessarily all bad for him. Here, he gets his Ambakaro caught in this fight against my Khazladoi, and I bring in these Wolhiskod to attack them. They don't use spears, so I'm able actually to win this fight by surrounding them with cav. And he doesn't use his Karisi to effectively stop them. I think he goes for another charge. Once again, he fails to set it up properly, and he isn't able to out the Ruiduzios, which gives me enough time to use these Wolhiskod in order to do a lot of damage. Wolhiskod. I move in for a cavalry attack, but I don't manage to get the flank, and instead I just get a lot of horsemen killed. And I don't pull them out very quickly, which is rather unfortunate, because those guys are very valuable. My cavalry wing took up almost half my money in this battle, so letting that go to waste is not good. And you can notice here that things start to break down for me on this flank, and he overruns my spear defense. I do, however, get to my defense, however, does hold up over here, and in the center where I place my Bruniadoi, I actually almost managed to break through. Over here, I managed to crack his defense by using my cavalry. I managed to mop up survivors with the rest of my horsemen. At this point, the battles... he's won the left flank, but I've won the center and right flanks, and so I pretty much won the important parts of the battle. And he gives up very soon after this. So yeah, that's pretty much it. His general gets killed, and the battle ends very shortly thereafter. So, good game to Nick. I enjoyed playing with the Sweboz, and really these battles are actually very much helping me as I try to find a good balance for units in EB which we will be having a tournament for in the summer, by the way. Be sure to check out our EB Europa Barbarum Novus Ordo Mundi forums. They're right inside the Europa Barbarum forums on the Total War org, and there's also one on the Total War Center net under EB unofficial mods. Well fought, and I'll see you next time with another battle.